Hello and welcome to Awake Learning. Hope you all are enjoying Environment Terminology series. Here is another part, Functions of Ecosystem and Energy Flow. Here we are trying to cover what is food chain and food web, major differences, and also the bioaccumulation, biomagnification. These kind of terms will be covered here. And our first terminology is flow of energy. In the flow of energy, when we see the tropic level, the energy will be transferred from the one tropic level to another tropic level. So for that, you need to understand what is tropic level. See, when you see this pyramid, you can see the particular tropic level. In this particular tropic level, try to observe the different organisms. So you can see in the primary product producers such as autotrophs are there. In the primary consumers, we can see plant eaters. Secondary consumers, again carnivores will be there. Tertiary, again you can see the carnivores, and the apex predator will be there. This is how the pyramidal structure. Here when we are considering the particular tropic level, we have a different animals, right? Example, in the autotrophs, we can say the algae presence or the plant presence. So this level is considered as the tropic level. It means that each tropic level occupied with the different organisms. So this energy flow takes place from one tropic level to another tropic level. So here we have a law of 10% energy transfer. See, here when we go from the lower layer of the pyramid to the higher level, there is always a transfer of only 10% of energy. You can see here there is only 10% transfer of energy taking place from one tropic level to another tropic level. So the available energy for each tropic level is only 10%. This is the law. So in exam, these kind of terminologies are important. Flow of energy always takes place from one tropic level to another tropic level. In generally, major source of energy is our sun. So plant utilizes the sun energy, they will produce the food, and again this is consumed by different organisms. So this is the basic understanding. So as we studied earlier how the heterotrophs and autotrophs are formed, how they are dependent. Based on that understanding, let's move to the food chain. So food chain is nothing but, as we see the different tropic levels, how the energy is transferred from the one tropic level to another tropic level. Here the food chain is generally, when we take the example of a terrestrial food ecosystem, here the producers are the animals, green plants are the producers. These are eaten by the primary consumers and the secondary consumers. The example you can see here, again tertiary consumers, then the final consumers or the apex predator will be there. So basically you got the clarity. These are the autotrophs and remaining comes under the heterotrophs because they are dependent on the primary producers or the autotrophs. This energy flow takes place in the unidirectional. This is also very important. Always this energy flow in the unidirectional from one tropic level to the another tropic level. So this is the representation called as the food chain. So transfer of energy is taking place from the green plants to the apex predator. Actually, we have two kinds of food chain. One is a grazing food chain, another is a detritus food chain. This is the example for grazing food chain, where the primary producers are plants, then it is considered as a grazing food chain. So when in the detritus food chain, we have the primary layer with organic matters. These are the organic matters are consumed by the different animals. That dead and decaying organic matters are the primary source of energy for some decomposers or detrivores. So they are depending on the dead organic matter in the detritus food chain. This is the basic idea. We have two kinds of food chain, grazing food chain and detritus food chain. When it comes to the food web, we have an interlinking of food chains. See, you can observe grasshopper is eaten by frog as well as the bird. The snake was depending on the frog in initial food chain, but when the frogs are not available, it will go with the birds. So interlinking is happening. That is, one species is depend on the multiple species for their consumption. This is the basic idea. The food web happen because to balance the ecosystem. So ecosystem balancing energy flow is possible only when there is a multiple feeding pattern is available, then only survival is possible. Because of this, organisms will depend on other organisms or they will choose the alternative food. Because of this, they are able to survive. This alternative food chain is happening. This representation is called as the food web. So the basic difference between the food chain and food web is, here we can see the single pathway where the food and energy travel in the ecosystem. Food web is the interconnection of number of food chain. Here generally the animals are depend on the single type of organisms, but here you can observe the multiple organisms dependency. So this food chain is generally unstable, but to bring the stability in ecosystem, food web is very important. And also in the food chain we have a less competition, less adaptability. When it comes to the food web, when there is a survival question, the competitiveness as well as adaptability is increasing more in the food web. This is the basic difference between the food chain and the food web. And another term is ecological pyramids. It is the diagrammatic representation of various trophic level. As you know what is trophic level in ecosystem, this can be represented. So in the diagrammatic form, this is called ecological pyramids. Here we have three types. One is pyramid of number, another is pyramid of biomass, and third is the pyramid of energy. Here the first thing is the pyramid of energy. As you can see in the pyramid of energy, energy flow from the lower trophic level to the higher trophic level. So from the primary producers to the apex organism. See, from each trophic level energy is transferred. Only 10% of energy is able to transfer, as you already know. So here after the death of each organism, it decomposed by the decomposers. Generally these organisms have organic content. This organic material decomposed, then converted into inorganic material. These nutrients are again consumed by the plant. How this energy is transferring from one trophic level to another trophic level, or from the energy reservoir to the individual or the a particular trophic level. So this is how the energy is transferring. This is always in a unidirection. You can see this, the energy pyramid always in the upright direction. This is the basic understanding how the energy flow from one trophic level to another trophic level. In the pyramid of biomass, this is the second type. In the pyramid of biomass, we have some exception. See, you can understand what is the biomass. Biomass is generally the total productivity or the total weight of an organism, right? It is how much individual is weighing. Based on this, we can consider the biomass, right? Then in the terrestrial ecosystem, we have upright representation. When it comes to the aquatic or the marine ecosystem, we have inverted kind of representation. Why it is so? See, when we observe this terrestrial ecosystem, primary producers biomass is more. Because of this, we have upright. When we compare to the top predator, the biomass in the producers or in the primary productivity layer, we have a high biomass. Because of this, we can see this upright. But in the aquatic ecosystem, we have inverted pyramid. Here the primary producers are very small, the biomass is very less. For example, we have zooplanktons, phytoplanktons, or small fishes. These generally, these primary producers in the marine ecosystem altogether have a less biomass. When we compare the top predator, you can see the whales and all these comes under the apex predator in the marine ecosystem. They do have a higher biomass. Because of that, we have inverted pyramid in the aquatic ecosystem. This is very important. These exceptions can be asked in the exam. You must have a clarity. The biomass is not always upright, but when it comes to the pyramid of energy, it is always upright. And another pyramid is the pyramid of number. Here also we have inverted example. See, when it comes to the terrestrial ecosystem, we have upright kind of numbers. Primary producers generally have large number. When we compare the top predator, we have few top predators, but when it comes to the plants, we have large number. Biomass is also more, as well as the number is also more. Because of that pyramid number in the terrestrial or the grass ecosystem, we have upright kind of pyramid. When it comes to the detritus food chain, we have inverted kind. As you know, in the detritus food chain, we have the decomposers. These are depending on dead and decaying organic matter. See here, the dead and decaying organic matter is the primary producer for the decomposers. Because of that, when we consider the decaying plant material or any organisms, the number is less. But when it comes to the parasitic content or the decomposers like fungus and bacteria, number will be more. So these microorganisms number will be more. These are the top predator. These are decomposing different materials. So because of this, we considered as there is an inverted pyramid of number in case of detritus or parasitic food chain. This is the major understanding. So hope you understood the different kinds of pyramids. One is the pyramid of biomass, pyramid of energy, as well as the pyramid of numbers. So this is very important. The major difference as well as the example how it is operated and how it is inverted, this has to be the clarity with respect to this terminology. And other terms are bioaccumulation and biomagnification. Here generally we get confusion between bioaccumulation and biomagnification. See, from this diagram we need to understand bioaccumulation is addressing single individual. When it comes to the biomagnification, it is trying to address in connection with other organism. See, bioaccumulation is nothing but when organism consume particular nutrient or a pollutant, this is the first time nutrient is entering to the individual. So here bioaccumulation is trying to address only the individual organism consumption. When it comes to the biomagnification, this pollutant consumed grasshopper is consumed by another birds. So there is a transfer of nutrients or the pollutant from one organism to another organism. So here the multiple organisms are involved. Generally in the food chain, when we are trying to address how the energy is transferring from one organism to another organisms, in the same way these nutrients or the pollutants or the harmful nutrients are transferring from the one organisms to another organisms. So here the involvement of multiple organism is there. So because of this, the term is biomagnification. So what is the clarity? Bioaccumulation is trying to address the individual organism. Biomagnification trying to address how the harmful pollutants are impacting multiple organisms through food chain. This is the major difference. So these are the terminologies associated with functions of ecosystem energy flow. Hope you understood very clearly. If at all you have any concern, please let me know through the comment section.